year is 1988. The internet is still in its infancy, an era before social media, before Google, before even the World Wide Web itself. A time when only around 60,000 users, mainly academics, government officials, and researchers, were connected. This was the ARPANET, one of the earliest computer networks, a foundation for what would one day become the internet as we know it. It was a digital utopia in the making, a world where information could be shared seamlessly across great distances. Scientists, engineers, and academics marveled at the possibilities, unaware that this interconnected dream would soon face its first nightmare. At the center of this story is Robert Tappan Morris. Born on November 8, 1965, he was the son of renowned cryptographer Robert Morris, who worked at the National Security Agency, the very institution responsible for some of the most advanced digital security measures of the time. Morris, a brilliant but curious mind, was fascinated by the growing power of interconnected computers. As a graduate student at Cornell University, he developed a small program, just 99 lines of code, with a simple yet dangerous goal: to test the limits of the network. Ironically, he didn't release the worm from Cornell. Instead, he launched it from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, hoping it would divert suspicion from his university. His peers, including Paul Graham, who would later become a tech entrepreneur, admired the experiment, viewing it as an ingenious, albeit reckless, demonstration of programming skill. At first glance, Morris's creation seemed harmless, just 99 lines of code. But these 99 lines contain something unprecedented, a self-replicating program capable of spreading autonomously across the network. It exploited vulnerabilities in Unix-based systems, particularly weaknesses in SendMail, an email routing program still in use today. The worm operated by quietly inserting itself into a system, duplicating itself, and then seeking out other vulnerable computers. But what Morris didn't anticipate was how quickly his creation would spiral out of control. On November 2nd, 1988, at around 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Robert Morris executed his code on an MIT computer. Within hours, the worm had begun its journey across the ARPANET timeline of events. 8:30 p.m. The worm is launched from MIT. 9 p.m. The first infected computers begin showing signs of slowdown. 11 p.m. Administrators at Cornell, Harvard, and Stanford report system failures. 1 a.m., November 3rd, the worm spreads to military and government systems, causing panic. 3 a.m., computer science experts, including Gene Spafford and Cliff Stoll, begin investigating. What should have been a small-scale experiment turned into a nationwide catastrophe. The worm's aggressive replication rate overwhelmed machines, rendering them useless. Universities, research labs, and even military computers were crippled. By morning, system administrators were frantically trying to isolate infected machines. Without a clear solution, many simply disconnected their computers from the network, effectively shutting down parts of the early internet. In December 1988, just a month after the attack, Robert Tappan Morris was identified as the creator of the program. Facing criminal charges under the newly enacted Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, Morris became the first person ever convicted of cybercrime in the United States. His sentence? 3 years of probation, 400 hours of community service, and a $10,000 fine. A light punishment considering the scale of the disruption. Despite the legal consequences, the Morris worm wasn't just a cyber attack. It was a wake-up call. It forced institutions to rethink security and led to the founding of the first Computer Emergency Response Team, CERT, to prevent future incidents. Today, cyber threats are more advanced than ever. Malware, ransomware, and cyber warfare now dominate the digital landscape, far surpassing the simple self-replicating code of the Morris worm. But the lesson remains the same. The internet, for all its power, is fragile, and sometimes all it takes is a few lines of code to bring it crashing down. As for Robert Tappan Morris, his name is forever linked to the first internet worm, but his story didn't end there. After serving his sentence, Morris continued his work in computer science, eventually earning a PhD from Harvard. Rather than retreating from the tech world, he became one of its key architects. In 2005, he co-founded Y Combinator, a startup accelerator that helped launch companies like Airbnb, Dropbox, and Reddit, platforms that now define the modern internet. In a final twist of irony, the man who inadvertently disrupted the early internet went on to help shape the future of it. Today, Morris is a respected professor at MIT, where he teaches students about the very systems his worm once compromised. His story serves as a reminder that a single act, whether intentional or not, can have profound consequences, but that mistakes don't have to define a person forever.